Hello everyone and welcome back to the Seedify YouTube channel and Game Changer Show. As you're aware, on 7th of May, Seedify has upcoming IDO, HyperCycle. Today I have an AMA with CEO of HyperCycle, Toufi Saliba. HyperCycle offers unique solutions to capture the market share by creating cross-chain that bridge cryptosphere and AI. Sounds very complex, isn't it? Let's have a discussion first with Toufi to understand more on the features and benefits of HyperCycle in Web3 space. Stay tuned and watch until the end. Hi, Toufi.
Hi, Uliana. How are you?
I'm doing well. And you?
Excellent. Thank you.
Let's start our AMA. And first of all, thanks so much for coming here. And thank you for sharing some insights about HyperCycle today. But first of all, could you please introduce yourself first and tell us a bit more about your background, about your story? How did you come to Web3 space? And a bit about HyperCycle, how it was created.
Of course. Thanks so much for having me. It's super exciting to be here. So I've been in startup space pretty much all my life. I've been in crypto before crypto was called crypto, and I've been in AI before any of this wave, if anything. I was newly graduate from school in 2002. Had my first AI exit. In 2013, I've had another AI company that we battled against Cisco, and our client was Intel, the microchip, and we won that battle against Cisco. Cisco shut down the entire department. History cannot be changed, and we had an AI engine. So we've been in AI for quite some time before getting into this. And the most exciting things that is happening in the world today is the conversions of crypto and AI. The first time I talked about it 10 years ago, AI decentralized, I introduced it to the world where everyone thought I'm crazy. But ACM, the Association for Queer Machinery, the smartest people you would find there, sometimes they misunderstand you, but a few years later, they let me introduce it to the world. So in 2017, it was 2016 that they looked at it. 2017, they let me hold some title with ACM, the chair of practitioners board, and the conference committee, and with that introduced AI decentralized people. They started listening, and with that we started getting a lot of momentum and to raise the awareness of what do we mean by AI decentralized? Is it actually a thing? And I met Ben Gortzel, one of the greatest minds with the AI decentralized, which is also can be misunderstood by a lot. And of course, most of the misunderstanding people they end up having is because they tend to focus on people's weaknesses instead of strengths. But I feel like if we all focus on each other's strength, we can rise a lot better. And I found that he's been thinking about like this AI decentralized at the time with SingularityNet. Fast forward to about a year and 4 months ago in a hackathon. So I'm a technopreneur, very technologist, and work with technology all the time and focus on solving things on a technology level. We were in Wyoming in a hackathon, and literally in a parking lot after through the hackathon, Ben approached me and he said, like, Toufi, you're like among the very, very few who told me that the global brain on Ethereum will not work. Nothing wrong with Ethereum. You actually came to Vitalik Buterin and I, we were sitting together, and you told us very specifically why it wouldn't work, but we didn't listen to you because we thought that we were gonna give it a try. And then we tried to do it on Cardano. Again, nothing wrong with Cardano. It's great at some stuff, but we realized it's time to build it on the network itself. You're the author of the IP. You are the author of this network. So we want to do it on Tora IP. Do you think you'd want to be involved? And I'm like, dude, if you actually want to do Tora IP, I would want to run this initiative. This is like the most exciting thing. This converges my entire background in cryptography and AI and cybersecurity. This is the thing that like we've all been waiting for. Like even if you look at Marvin Minsky, who is one of the godfathers of artificial intelligence, he talked about this back in 1983 with the Society of Mind. Almost every AI scientist has been dreaming about having the tiny little AI to kind of talk to another AI. So this isn't something that we've like, oh, look at this HyperCycle guy. They innovated some new model that never, ever nobody thought of. No. It's been the dream of every AI scientist to kind of get to the point, can we get the smallest AI to talk to the smallest AI without anyone in the middle? Effectively, people that start talking about HyperCycle, they're like, hey, you guys building the synapses for the global brain, that is so exciting. So synapses, the way they work, you have the neuron here, you have neurons everywhere in your body. The way they talk to each other, they don't go and check with central brain. They don't check with decentralized brain. They just don't check with any third party. They just go peer to peer. And then they do it very, very well. So that's effectively what we do. And we feel like super excited to be bringing this to the space because the entire crypto market is about $1 trillion today. AI is about 20 trillion. This convergence,
20 trillion.
It's 20 trillion maybe about 6 months ago. Now maybe about 35 trillion or something like that. So we're saying here we're going to enable every single AI to benefit from this. And that's why when people, they look deeply into HyperCycle and they see why we started generating revenue before we even did any seed financing, is because most of our clients, they are from that 20 trillion, who's probably 35 trillion by now. I mean, it grew rapidly in the last 6 months, so chances are it's a lot bigger than 20 trillion. So we're that tiny little thing. Maybe it's called synapses, whatever you want to call it. And this is this thing that we add that technology did not have before. This is our breakthrough. This is what we're bringing into every single device anywhere, hopefully. It took us years and years to get here. This isn't just like an overnight. The conversions are decades. Like when you hear Ben Gortella talk about he's like 25 years trying to get to this point. When you look at Toda IP is not something that's like, oh, we created it yesterday. The very first attempt of Toda IP was in 2006 and failed. And to be cryptocurrency at the time. And it's like, and then in 2015, it was trying to resolve a hash cache, which is the part of the proof of work and so forth. And right now we feel like we don't want to, nor we should compete with existing blockchains. There's a $20 trillion market. How about we enable the entire thing to become a lot more efficient into enabling these guys here? Because there's a lot of innovations in DeFi. There's a lot of cool stuff happening in crypto. The outside world, all they hear about is all the bad stuff. It's kind of like the early days of the internet. People hear about like the bad stuff, but all the cool stuff, it's about time that we channel them to the world in the most efficient way. And I feel like we want to be one of those that we can bring that channel. So we're super excited to be here.
Wow, that's exciting. You're a legend. Oh my God. And you have a huge experience in Web3 space. Wow, I'm amazed.
Well, thank you. I actually, I don't know if like there's a lot of things that I do state certain facts. There's some things that I have opinion of, and one of the opinions that I have about the actual Web3 that we're likely to make Web3 happen, but by then we might end up calling it, let's say, Web 7. Or let's say we, all of us, maybe we call it Web 7 or some Web 8 or whatever you want. It's just it turns out that there's a lot of innovations that when we're trying to bring them, there's certain bad people, they use that name and then they go and do bad stuff, which many people, they don't notice it, but then they end up like ruining a lot of view on the entire Web3, for example. But it's okay. For now, we call it Web3. That's great. Eventually, when we make it to the entire world, we can call it banana, whatever you want to call it. It's like, but we will get there. I have 100% confidence that the entire world will be cryptified. We can look at we can start looking at things from how it can be additive and how it can enhance, as opposed to people looking at it as a threat. Because in technology, we can truly be a positive sum game, and we keep pushing towards that. Of course, like anyone, we get misunderstood. Sometimes people, they feel like, oh, these guys, they want to take down the banker. My cousin is a banker. I don't want him to be taken down or something like that. But the reality is that when there's a positive sum game, there's a lot of benefit to everybody if they understand it well. And so there's a lot of responsibility on us to actually make it work for everyone.
Let's go back to HyperCycle. You have mentioned that you're not trying to compete with other blockchain networks. And I'm not even sure, do you guys have any competitors or not? But what can you say, like how your blockchain network is different from the rest?
So we do have competitors. One biggest competitor is a company called Oracle.
Okay.
Right? And I competed in the past against Cisco and I won. And we will win again. Because we're not going alone this time. We're going and bringing the entire crypto space with us, and we will win against Oracle. And this time we will win by perhaps like absorbing the greatest minds inside Oracle, because Oracle's got a lot of phenomenal brains. When they understand how we do it, they will actually partake in doing it with us as opposed to going against us. And here's why. Larry Ellison, the CEO of Oracle in September, talked about the problem that we solve. But this is how they solve it. The AI of Microsoft, the AI of Google, wouldn't it be better if they talk to each other? We are going to build those bridges. What does that resemble? Any technologist? This is intranet for human. Think of the intranet for human, intranet. In the early days of internet, there were intranet. Each company had intranet. They still have it. But what intranet is that inside one company, people, they can talk to each other. It looks like the internet. They have websites, but the world, they cannot see it. It's called intranet.
Intranet, okay.
Intranet. And then what Larry Ellison wants to build, which I give him a lot of credit for seeing it, because he is seeing that how beneficial this can be. He wants to build bridges between them. Those are kind of like extra net. Brilliant, okay? He talked about it in September. Now, of course, we've been working on the internet of AI a long time before that. If Larry Ellison knows that we have the technical capability to build the internet of AI, do you think he would be doing bridges, or do you think he would be thinking of maybe we should do it on the internet of AI? And I think that's a rhetorical question. It's just a matter of him not only thinking that maybe we can, eventually he will see that we've done it. Because by the time you prove to a lot of companies, people, they're like, oh yeah, well, why don't you talk to Oracle and convince them? I'm like, dude, no, that's not how it works. I've been around the block a few times. And when you talk to large companies, instead of like convincing them something, you just go and do it. When they see it working, then they will, come in and partake in this. HyperCycle is being built for everyone on the planet, and we don't say it's like, oh, we're building it and we're not going to let the Oracle use it. We're more like electricity. We're like internet. Internet is here for all humans. Does internet say it's like, no, you guys are like in Paraguay or in Germany where you're not going to use the internet. No, it's there for everyone. And HyperCycle will be for every single device to partake in the global AI computation. So when they see how it works, when they see the protocol is open, they can build on top of it. They can even come and compete with HyperCycle. They can call it the Oracle cycle. And it would collaborate instead of like just compete. Now, at the smallest level, folks they need to compete, that's okay. Competition is not necessarily a bad thing when it gets to enhancing a system. So, yeah, I think that's one big example. And I think we are getting tremendous support from the entire crypto community to win this battle. And like I said, the entire crypto space is $1 trillion. And I really urge folks, don't look only inside. You're looking so much inside, that's great, you're enhancing it, that's fantastic. But when it comes to like HyperCycle AI, help me look towards the outside. Let's grab this market that is like 1,000 times bigger. The AI market is going to get us to grab the market. Remember, when I said AI 20 trillion, nobody can refute that. Nobody. It's actually 35 trillion probably now. We're not grabbing, we're actually together with AI grabbing the world to make it a better place, make it a secure AI, make it something that we can all be proud of, that we partake in bringing AI to the world in a secure way, that generations can benefit from it as opposed to eliminating humanity or whatnot, you know? So that's something that we can all be proud of bringing to humanity, not just doing it to make shitloads of money. We are going to make shitloads of money doing it, but let's do it the right way.
Let's move to the next question. We already spoke about like how developers can build using HyperCycle. So let's look into it deeper. Like how can developers and businesses get involved with HyperCycle and start building on the network? How, like, is it possible?
Sure.
Is it doable?
Of course. So inside the actual HyperCycle computation node, there are several components. I'm going to share my screen here if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Okay. So there are several components inside the. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, I can.
So there is one component that is the VM. The VM is a virtual machine. It's responsible to manage this machine. So if you think of this as a coffee shop, the VM is more like that manager in a coffee shop, tells everybody what to do, you know? And then there's the TM, the transaction machine. The transaction machine is more like you go to the coffee shop, there's this cash register. You must pay, you get your coffee. You go first to pay, right? You go to the coffee shop, you pay. And that TM is the main reason why I got involved in this project, because I'm the author of the IP. So that's the thing that actually receives the actual payment. Now, why is it so important? For some folks that they come from Web 2, they won't necessarily get it right away, but until I say that this statement here. When one AI is going to tell another AI, can you do this work for me? If that's what it can say, then this one's going to be like, are you going to pay me for it? And what's this going to be like? Yeah, well, I'll pay you later. What if it doesn't pay later? You're just going to do work every time somebody asks you, and then maybe they'll pay you later? It won't work that way. So the only way it works is like, can you do this work for me? You have a list that you said that you do OCR, let's say optical character recognition. Let's say that's one of the AIs that you do out of like hundreds. And you have a list, you said, if you send me a document, I process it 1 page, I charge 1 cent. Then you know what this one needs to do in order to talk to this? The very first thing that it needs to send, very first thing, it takes this thing that's called like a SATO server, which is the HYPC. The HYPC brings it and it puts it as an input to this machine, and it says like, here's the payment is inside this file. It's a 64 kilobyte. Inside the 64 kilobyte, it has all the cryptographic proofs that I own this penny and I'm sending it to you. It has also the cryptographic proofs that I signed it to you under the condition that you do the work as per the instructions. They're basically smart contract. The instruction says, if you were to process this file that I'm also including, you show the proof that you've done it, then that penny that I'm sending is actually, you can re-spend it. It's yours to spend. So if this guy wants to go and now hire another guy here, this guy is going to go and spend that penny. How is it going to spend the penny? This guy's going to ask the same question and be like, is it yours? Be like, yes, it's mine. Look, I have a proof that I have received it, and so on and so forth. Now, of course, I'm oversimplifying of what is that proof and how is it that there is no double spend and so on and so forth. This is when people, they look deeply. But why am I telling you all this? Is because you ask the question, how is it that people can use it? Well, AI developers, when they actually go and log into this, and then they go to inside the actual AI machine, this tiny little thing here, they won't see any of that complexity. Beautiful. You know what they see? Right now, if you were to call any AI developer, say like, hey, how do you build? Where do you build your things? Do you actually have a hardware machine? Very few do. You know what? How they do? They log into someone who's providing the hardware somewhere. That's why those are my clients. Our clients are those computation center that they want to provide you that AI machine. When you log into the AI machine, it looks like you logged into like Ubuntu machine or any similar, whatever what you like the operating system be. This is where you log into, and this would be inside this machine. You put your AI there, you configure it, and what do you tell it to talk? Input, output. You're already doing that. The difference here is that like when you have your AI there, it's just gonna make you money every single microsecond that it runs. Beautiful, right? Because this is when we look at the actual beneficiaries. The beneficiaries in running the HyperCycle computation node include the AI developer.
I see.
So there is no way somebody can run your code without you making money. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay, so yeah.
You already mentioned about HYPC. So could you please explain? I understood that with HYPC, AI can pay to another AI. But what are the utilities and benefits of owning, like especially for our investors who are going to participate in upcoming IDO, which is coming on 7th of May?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. What I focus on and the reason, by the way, people that they know me, well, they know that I've been in crypto before it was called crypto. Okay, truly, like it's been like I've always been in AI, and my desire has been always crypto. And then like Silvio Micali, who I call him like my godfather in crypto. At the time, we did this thing called Toda Algorand. He named it Toda Algorand, but we diverged. Algorand's on its own, Toda on its own. Okay, so I've been in crypto before crypto, but I've never been involved in any token. This is the first time I get involved in a token. And why am I getting involved in token? Let me tell you this, because I'm able to answer that 1% of the top technologists everywhere in the world. And I want us all in crypto to be able to answer that question, because this is how we're going to get to the global adoption. We figured a way to get to the peer-to-peer. So here's the thing. You have the HYPC token, and the machine here, we said that this machine is to talk to this machine to do AI computation, right? The very first thing that I elaborated on, it's sending it this thing that is called the SATO server, which is that 64 kilobyte file. It's effectively the HYPC, the native HYPC is not sitting on any ledger. The native HYPC, it starts, well, let's say on Ethereum or on BNB or wherever it comes from. And then you get to the native, and there's a bridge that we're providing even day one, because you already have our native token, the demand for the native token. So back to this, the most important part in this call. If anybody wants to get anything, this is the most important part. This machine, when it talks to this machine and says, here's 1 penny, you know what this machine is going to say? Is this real money? The machine here is going to ask this, is this real money? And then if this machine is going to be like, yes, it is real money, and then it's going to like show me the proof. What is that? Or otherwise it's monopoly money. Well, you just made it up. And look what proof this one has. Beautiful. We're gonna look at this. This one will be like, look, this is the token called HYPC. the people, those that they govern this planet, they're called Homo sapien. We're the AI agents. Those Homo sapiens, they decided that this is called money, and then they have those communities that somebody bought this HYPC on some exchange for $10. They gave it to me. They lent it to me. They plugged it to me. They invested in me. They gave it to me, and I'm spending 0.001 of those HYPC to give it to you to do the work. And then this guy would be like, wait, that's cool. So I can actually take it and then spend it again with those Homo sapiens. I can actually hire Homo sapien. I can actually buy electricity. I can buy hardware. I can do anything with this money. This is real. And the guy's like, you got it. It's real. So then this guy now knows that this token is actually real and they can respend it. That is super duper powerful. Okay. So that's why the HYPC is needed. Utility number one. The utility number two. Utility number two, this is where people in the crypto space will excel at, and it's effectively, if you were to get someone who is not in the crypto space and you tell them there is, go create a Bitcoin wallet, they go and boom, 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 create a Bitcoin wallet, like, I got it, can you see it? Of course, anyone in crypto space will start laughing. What do you mean, can I see it? You create it. Dude, it's still on your phone. The only way it gets into the network if I actually send it some Bitcoin. They're like, but wait a second. Didn't I create it? Doesn't that mean that it's actually in some server somewhere? Like, it's still on your phone. That Bitcoin wallet doesn't exist anywhere. It's imaginary. It's just in your phone.
Mm-hmm.
But if I send it some Bitcoin, this is when it actually starts existing in the network. Okay, so what does that mean? The HyperCycle computation node, people, they run it. That's fantastic. They're running computation node. But if that computation node were to surface their network, it needs an identity. And how is it going to get the identity? Go to the passport office? No. Like, people can be like, they start laughing at you. Like, you're a machine. We don't give the passports to the machine. It needs HYPC to get that identity. So 1024 HYPC is the minimum needed for one machine to surface. Now, of course, somebody would ask, why 1024 Toufi? Why not one? Well, if you want to compare this to a coffee shop and you start getting a lot of reputation and uptime and all that, wouldn't you want this coffee shop to maybe expand and have a lot of franchises and so on and so forth without having to spend every time money to buy a new node, license, get more HYPC? And the answer is like, of course. So the beauty of it, the combination of a HyperCycle computation node, the software, and the HYPC token, they're kind of like the AI marriage. Romeo and Juliet, they love each other, boom, they get married. Y-DNA, mitochondrial DNA, they end up having babies. Those babies, they're HYPC. They can have lots and lots of babies. So they can split themselves into two, whereas they get like a ratio. And that ratio, they own the ratio. It's kind of like you go to a coffee shop. That coffee shop has very good reputation and it serves a lot of coffees. But let's say it used to do 2,000 cups of coffees per day. Now it does 20,000. But can you do 200,000? Of course not. Laws of physics be like, what? It's not going to handle to do that. But if it's so good that it needs to do 200,000 for everyone in the city, then maybe it needs to open 2 coffee shops. And the 2 coffee shops need to open 4 and so on and so forth. So the number 1024 gives you the ability to take your node and expand to 1024 nodes at some point. Imagine you're a university student that you start this as a business. And of course, this is like in 18 months when we're releasing this product, we want to introduce new jobs, new jobs. Somebody's like studying university, they can actually take this and say like, okay, I'm gonna like run this node. It only costs me like, let's say $300 to kind of get it up and running. And then with this $300, I want to see like how far I can actually grow it. And with that $300, you're able to take like that to a whole new level where you're able to grow it in this screen here. And you're able to get to 1024 by the time you finish, let's say, university. So let's say the first one was making you $1 per day. If you have 1,024 and they're making even, let's say, 50 cents per day, that's still like $500, $600 per day. That's a lot better job than most people that graduate universities. And then that we call that the hybrid intelligence, because the people are needed to optimize those machines, and they keep swapping which AI service would run there, which not. And people that are in crypto space, they're so good at it. And so imagine you give them the ability to do that via like a mobile device, where you would go to your mobile and manage the machines remotely and look at each and every one of them, how they're performing. Today you run for cancer research, tomorrow, boom, boom, you swap it for like vaccine research. And you wait like 15 minutes and it changes those files inside like servers. Servers, they look like this behind the scenes, like they're probably very expensive servers, but like what goes on inside like a server like that, the actual RAM in the GPUs, they're being utilized by whatever is running on those servers. So let's say you have 512 nodes running all of this machine all remotely, and you decide to swap what's running on them. You're able to swipe and do that. So that's our ultimate goal, is to get to that point, and we're working diligently almost every single day, and that's why we're releasing a lot sooner. Because many projects can say it's like, hey, we're waiting 18 months and then you can see anything. We're releasing day one, the actual, some of the nodes start gaining the uptime, and then later on they start getting the computation and all of the stuff. So that's how we're building the system.
So question, do I need to have 1024 HYPC to fully use?
Absolutely, 100%. There is no node that will ever exist in a network unless it has a minimum of 1024. And so what, for example, when you look at the tokenomics, we did an example here because there are a lot of people that they want to run pools. And why do they want to run pools? This is super exciting. It's because if you have the HYPC, are you going to go and find those machines? Like, dude, I don't know where to find those machines. But they're pool operators, and there's about 10 different major cities in the world. They're running those pools, and they run them as part of like their meetup groups and stuff like that. They do all the hard work finding the machine operators, plugging the token and the software and all of the stuff. And then people, they say, yeah, I'll give you my token. I know that your machine needs it. The pool has a smart contract that is audited smart contract. And then the smart contract says that if you let me use your token, that's what the pool's saying, is if you let me use your token, the machines needs those tokens to start running a computation and making money and whatnot. We make it simpler. Let's say the pool pays that user, let's say 9%, and then you use the token for like 36 months. While you look at the audit report, and you know that there is no possible way for you losing the token. It's just the yield that it gives you. If they fail to pay you every 2 weeks, it's every 2 weeks it pays, every 2 weeks. If it fails to pay you once, you're able to take back your token. It's kind of like you own a piece of land and somebody decided to put vegetation in it. And if they planting all kind of vegetation and vegetables, and then they pay you every 2 weeks, and then if they fail to pay you once, you can say, oh, I have the land. Guess what? You still have the vegetation too, which is super cool. Remember, because the reputation and in the computation that belongs to the totality of that machine. So it's very powerful for people to own the software license and to own the HYPC token. Two bad things can happen here. One is that like they don't pay you, so you have to like take back your token. And the other is that like, you wait until the end of the term, and then you still get back your token, and they were paying you, say, like 9%. Oh, wait a second, Toufi, why did you say that's bad? That's what I wanted from the beginning. That is good. And the token price went up in price and everything else. But maybe some other pool you learned about after they were providing 9.5%. Oopty-da. It's like everybody ends up like winning when they end up partaking in this. And it's a lot of work for pool operators to actually do this. So they deserve to make a delta if they're doing all the work, So I think it's like in an assembly line, there are a lot of people doing a lot of work. And that's what what we've noticed here that like if you're, let's say, pool operator, you want to run this, and then you pay, let's say, people 9%, and then let's say you plug those tokens and you pay 28,000 per month, 32,000, 36 for now. They still own the token, and their token, even if the token appreciates, you can't take that away from them. It's not possible. This is not staking. Staking, you could lose your token by construct. This is like, it's impossible. You're lending them. It's kind of like literally like a piece of land, and somebody's doing vegetation there.
I see. Isn't it like, sorry if it's a stupid question, is like what Cosmos network does? No?
Do they do pools? Maybe. I don't know. Well, like, is that you mean for pools? Or what?
Yeah,
for what?
yeah. When you like choose invalidator for staking, but you just said it's not staking,
It's not
but like
staking.
lending. But they also kind of lending you. I don't know.
No, I mean the mechanism that a lot of people innovated on in the crypto space, whether it is Cosmos, Polkadot, and you know, almost they will be able to do a lot better if this is receiving money for AI computation for somebody who's paying for that AI computation to power the entire system. Otherwise, it's like it's a circle of things. Like, okay, this crypto pays, this crypto pay. Okay, it keeps going between. It's like a whole circular. But dude, the entire crypto needs to service the world, and this is our time. The time has come to actually convert it to something that securing the internet of AI is the best thing that we can do. Our cryptography. Let's do this, and let's start bringing a lot of revenue. So then, all of them, they can start like benefiting in what they do. You know, so ledgers, they can become a service as opposed to dependency. Dependency is not good. Service is good.
Right. All right. One more question. Any great partnerships or any plans in the future? Some great partnership with Oracle, for example?
You know, we're open to all kind of partnerships. We're here to work with everyone. Even if some people, they think that, oh, you know, these HyperCycle guys, they're not going to want to partner with us because they might think we're competition with not at all, honestly. Like for example, a lot of like hardware companies, they would be like, this is going to do AI computation instead of mining. We do like mining only. Dude, we're here to add value to everyone. We can add value to somebody who's doing mining. They can run AI computation next to it. Even a mining factory contacted us recently, which we're not supposed to be talking the details of who they are. They want to build ASICs for AI. They're smart as fuck. Like, this is so awesome that you see that. It's like they're actually thinking of like how they can utilize like their network to build that, and they want to work very closely with us. So we have two groups that they're working on, still secret projects. One of them we will announce it as a secret project, and people they know this too. They know he's been working on that secret project, which is like an ASICs for AI that can reduce the friction. Another one, she's not so secretive, but basically we will be working with a lot of hardware companies to actually increase that virtuous cycle, because what we're bringing here is people that create more demands to their hardware, so that their hardware can service the world better and be more effective. The one of the partners that I'm hoping we get to is the buyers, in between the buyers and the sellers of machines, AI machines, because they've figured out a way to have an ROI already. Perhaps they can look at they can get their top security expert to audit those containers that we provide, and they would realize that it's not going to it's containerized. Like the HyperCycle computation node gets to be super duper containerized inside this machine. So if you own this machine and you put that in there, it's impossible for it to jump. And you can put it as a secondary thing. So when you're not using this big computer for like AI computation and some other component is using it, instead of you spending, like, this machine costs you $356,000. Imagine somebody, and especially those guys that are creating pools for hardware, they would come and give you $70,000 to let you put that container, and they pay your electricity bill. Did you hear that last one? And they pay your electricity bill. Like, what? This is great. And you can still do everything that you wanted to do before. Whatever you want to do this machine, you do exactly what you wanted to do. So that those guys are creating those pools for hardware, they're going to be very successful because likely they're going to plant it in every single machine that is out there. But it's great that that can also get us to do a lot of partnership with eventually we will have partnership with folks like the NVIDIA and Intel, whatnot. In fact, one of the companies that one of those projects we're incubating, they already have a partnership with Intel, which is great. I've had partnership in the past with Intel. I still sit on the board with Intel and some other companies. So
Wow.
we do have a very good relationship, but I feel like at this point we are too small to matter to those big companies to be like, oh, like but eventually we will. And we have, my founding partner in the main Toda company, she's currently with the CTO office with Microsoft. We have people, they're good people in big companies. They're big companies, their structure there, you might be seen as like, oh, evil or whatnot, but those good people, they're going to all work together and help us all get there. When it comes to partnerships, one of our clients called Penguin in Paraguay, they invited us to tour their facility. They have like phenomenal facility for because they utilize the hydroelectric to convert that into computation. And instead of doing that just like for mining only, they can also have AI computation and then eventually transition to that maybe or whatnot. So they made an announcement of having a partnership that they call it HyperPenguin, HyperPG type of thing. And we will be showing details on that, showing some of the videos touring their facilities and so on and so forth. And there are a few other partners that they do like solar farms, another one wind farms, because every time there's folks that they generate electricity, they feel like maybe they can utilize the excess of electricity towards AI computation. It's extremely profitable when you compare it to other things. So yeah, there will be a lot of announcements on partnerships. And as you know, we've already been incepted as with the partnership like the Singularity Net and the Toda and all of these. So and at the time there was like with partnership with like Cardano, but then some people they just like hate Cardano. I don't know why they hate them. Like we're agnostic, honestly. Like you could be coming from Cardano or Ethereum or Algorand or Bitcoin or Central Bank of England. If you're Homo sapien, you deserve good
You're
treatment.
open for everyone.
We want AI to be doing good service for you, for your children, for everyone, and that's what we're here for.
Nice, amazing. Wow, I see huge ambitions and like huge plans for the future. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Toufi, thanks
Yes.
so much for this
Thank you.
long interview.
Thank
That
you
was
so much for
super-
having me. I'm
super
excited
interesting.
about of this, and I'm looking forward to see how together we can bring this to humanity. Every single listener, every single one who's actually partaking in this, you are already participating in making this world a better place. And kudos for you to do it in a way that you can make lots of money, because you owe it to your own family to make lots of money while making the world a better place. That's how we do it. And this can actually move us from being stuck with the Moloch problem as a society to win-win. We can be in the positive sum game. And then, yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Amazing. Thanks a lot for to do it in a better understandable way, because the project is kind of complex to understand, but you try to explain it like for dummies. Thanks a lot for giving examples for everything.
Definitely not dummies. It's all, like it's honestly like it is our collective intelligence that we're bringing it together. Without you, I wouldn't be able to do it, and together we will make it happen.
Yeah, it's a win-win, as you said.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. I will see you around. Have a nice day.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us for this AMA with HyperCycle. I hope this information was very helpful and insightful. In case you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them down below in the comment section. Get ready for the IDO date on 7th of May. Once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.